What is up, good people? Jungle Inc. here. Hope you're doing well. We got some absolutely massive dates coming up here as we start out 2024 for this fight against the SEC, specifically for Ripple and more broadly the crypto space. So we're going to go through it here. Great article. And we see first on deck, February 12th, the SEC and Ripple must complete remedy-related discovery. So what's going on here? The judge ruled that those sales directly to institutions were securities offerings. The question is, how many were sourced here in the U.S.? Because if it happened overseas in a different jurisdiction, it won't really be applicable. So who cares? Now, we don't know specifically how much XRP was sold to institutions here in the U.S., but if it's anything like Brad and Chris as individuals, almost all of their sales were overseas. If it's like that, the final number is going to be really low. It is going to be a massive embarrassment to the SEC and Gary Gensler. Remember, he could have probably settled this sucker out early on, 150 million. Now they have 700 and something, million dollars worth of illegal securities offerings. But again, what percentage took place here in the U.S. and will be applicable? Further, it's going to be hard for them to ask for massive fines and penalties because there's no fraud here. And furthermore, there's no injured party. So it's going to be interesting. We want a very low, embarrassing number, maybe one so bad the SEC just doesn't want to publicize that and they just agree to settle this whole thing out. Could happen, probably not, but I think we're going to get, at least in terms of what it could be, a very small number here in terms of, fines and penalties versus Ripple. And make no mistake, if it ends up being $700-something million, Ripple can weather that storm. It's not going to put them out of business. They get 1 billion XRP a month, they could sell on the market if needs be. So not the end of the world here, but I think the SEC is going to come up way short on this thing because, again, if those sales are anything like Brad and Chris's sales, it's going to be majority of them taking place overseas. We'll see. April 19th, Judge Annalisa Torres will rule on the penalty for the XRP sales to U.S. institutional investors. So we'll find out in April what that tally finally is. Now, we also have Judge Ratkoff, his ruling on Luna and Tera USD, TUSD, and he ruled that they're both securities. I don't think there's a whole lot here that would conflict with the Ripple ruling, but there's that tack on about staking and yield generation, and that making the crypto asset a security. And might the SEC take that and run with it, both in their case versus Coinbase, because they sell and also offer staking as a service, at least they used to U.S. customers, and also might they go after another project? This might give Gary Gensler just enough ammunition to take one last run at this thing and see if he can get some of those coins in of themselves classified as a security. Would be a major loss. So that's one to keep an eye on. I think they would be pushing it if they tried to take like a Polkadot or a Cardano or an Ethereum and take that logic and say, well, because there is staking and yield generation, that makes it a security. But it doesn't mean that he won't do it. We know Gary Gensler. He doesn't really need to be lawful in his conduct. He doesn't need to think he can win. If he thinks he has at least an inch here, he's going to try to take a mile and weaponize anything he can. Watch out. He just very well may. Now, lastly, we have the Coinbase case, and they filed the motion to dismiss, arguing the SEC lacks the authority to regulate crypto exchanges. We're going to get a ruling there. I don't expect this case to get tossed out that easily. I think the judge will let this thing run its course and see where we end up. There's probably some securities violations somewhere in there. No one could have guessed exactly how the Ripple case would have played out had they tried to end it early. I think most people figured the institutional sales were safe, and the sales on the secondary market, those were the ones you had to worry about. It ended up being the exact opposite. But if Coinbase can get this thing tossed, if they look at that Ripple ruling and just, crypto aren't securities in general, and they're able to toss it, good night. This whole thing is over. This whole, crusade versus the crypto space. I don't think it'll happen, but you never know. And this is what I like. From where we stand right now as crypto enthusiasts, as crypto investors, we're in the power seat, man. There's a lot of ways for us to win, and there's very little, at least right now, that the SEC could do to harm us or this space at large. That's a great place to be. And I know a lot of people are worried they're going to take that Tera Luna decision and somehow use that in their appeal versus Ripple and affect XRP in some way, that's going to take so long. Gary and the rest of them, they'll be out. We'll have regulations by then. It doesn't worry me in the slightest. And like last time, yeah, we were on the winning side, but we lost the whole bull run. They ain't touching us this time around. Law of the land, XRP is not a security, and it's going to stay like that for the foreseeable future, and that is all that really matters. Let me know what you think down below, and as always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.